BLUEY is a show that always manages to exceed expectations. Did you know that there are many emotional stories happening in the background? The first example is something that has been building up throughout the entire third season, Bandit's decision to sell the house. It all starts in the episode Curry Quest, where Bandit has to travel for work, and we see this photo of him at the end, participating in an important archaeological expedition. He stays away for 6 months, and something happened during that trip, because in Stickbird, the healers go to the beach, and Bandit simply can't focus on the present. He already has the promotion offer on the table, and he knows exactly what that means. 2 episodes later, in Dragon, through his drawings, Bandit introduces us to Bucky, the school bully who used to make fun of his artwork. And then everything comes together in The Sign. The healer house is for sale because Bandit is finally accepting the promotion he was offered back in Curry Quest and was hesitant about in Stickbird. And Bucky, the bully we met in Dragon, turns out to be the real estate agent responsible for selling the house. I just love to see all the pieces of the puzzle coming together like this, don't you? If you had already noticed this background story, then grab your snacks and a cold drink, because there's plenty more where that came from. You know what time it is. It's time for another zigzag episode. To start, I bet you didn't even know this guy's name was Busker. And to finish, I'm sure you didn't notice that he has 2 completely different professions. And this isn't even a theory. We can clearly see it in multiple episodes. Want to know more? Busker is introduced to the audience for the first time as the musician hired to play at the outdoor market in the episode where Bluey doesn't know what to do with the money she got from the Tooth Fairy. She wants to include her friend Indy in the plan, but nothing she thinks of seems to work until she decides to pay Busker to play a song for everyone to enjoy. The second time he appears is in the episode Dance Mode, where the entire healer family ends up making a fool of themselves in the middle of the street, forced to dance every time someone pulls their tail and shouts, "Dance Mode!" In the final dance scene, where the whole family is dancing together, we see Busker again, performing as a musician on this makeshift drum set made of PVC pipes. The third time he appears is briefly in the episode Quiet Game, where he spends the bill that Bluey gave him earlier. Here, he doesn't appear as a musician, just as a regular person, no offense to musicians. But every time he's appeared, he's either been playing music or buying ice cream. So, how does he have another job that has absolutely nothing to do with music? Well, the episode that always comes up in these videos is The Sign. And this is where the answer to seemingly all of the show's mysteries lies. The episode revolves around Frisky and Rad's wedding. And if you look closely, guess who's the guy officiating the ceremony? It's Busker. Besides being a musician, he is also, apparently, a priest, or whatever the equivalent profession would be if Frisky and Rad aren't religious. Had you noticed this before? Then type #Busker in the comments so we know you were on top of it. I know you probably already know about the possibility that Muffin and Sock's home might be somewhat dysfunctional. Maybe dysfunctional is too strong a word, but there's definitely a constant conflict there that has become totally normal for the 2 girls. We can see this in the episode Facey Talk, after chaos has already broken out and Muffin has stolen Stripe's phone to keep drawing and escape punishment. Man, if I did that to my dad, I wouldn't be writing this video right now. Stripe is a dad who believes in disciplining Muffy when she does something wrong, but Trixie thinks punishing their daughter is wrong, so they can never agree. In this scene from the episode, we can see them having a very serious argument in front of everyone on the call. Socks and Muffin don't even seem to care, probably because it's something common that happens all the time. That's really sad, isn't it? Do you think this side of the family is facing bigger problems than just arguments? Another clue about this happens in The Sign, near the end of Frisky's wedding party, where we get a quick glimpse of Stripe and Trixie arguing once again. And while that's happening, Socks is playing with the cake toppers, mimicking their dialogue, saying, "Yes, you did. No, I didn't. Yes, you did." So yeah, this is clearly something that happens all the time, and the girls aren't even surprised by it anymore. We've already learned that everything in Bluey ends up having meaning later on, and since this happens in Season 3, it's another background story that will be wrapped up in The Sign. In episode 46 of Season 3, called Slide, we get another example of this. Bingo and Lila, work together to avoid crushing the bugs that cross their water slide path. And by the end of the episode, they make sure this little caterpillar reaches a safe place and turns into a beautiful blue butterfly. It lands on both of their hands as if to say thank you, and Bingo names it Flappy. Then, in the sign, we get the whole desperate situation of Aunt Frisky running away from her own wedding. Chili and the bridesmaids chase after Frisky for half the episode, but eventually, they completely lose sight of her because the girls need to stop and go to the bathroom. Who hasn't been there, right? Reluctantly, Chili pulls over at this playground, and this is where Flappy shows up for the first time, flying toward Bingo, who recognizes it and calls it by name. It lands on the drinking fountain in the background, and as the women are getting ready to leave again, no one notices, but Flappy sneaks into the car at the last second. In the next scene, this briefly causes chaos, which makes Chili stop the car, and thanks to that, she looks to the side and follows the butterfly, which leads her to the sign that tells her where Frisky went. That has to be the most useful butterfly in history, right? I wish I had one of those to guide me sometimes. There is a character in BLUEY who was probably adopted, and no, this time, we're not talking about Bingo. In the episode Pass the Parcel, we see multiple birthday parties for BLUEY and Bingo's friends, where they play the game Pass the Parcel. The game where, when the music stops, the person holding the package can remove one layer of wrapping. And if it stops on the last person, they win the prize hidden in the final layer. But before, they used to play it with one gift for every layer, and Lucky's dad didn't like that at all. He decided to change it to the correct way to play, which made the pups really mad, and they didn't like it one bit. Notice that when they start crying and run to hug their moms, all of them look like their mothers, like Bingo and Chili, for example. But then there's this little dog, Missy, who looks completely different from her mom, and that probably means she was adopted. You know who else is adopted? Our channel. If you subscribe to it, don't leave the channel without a home. Click the red button and turn on notifications so the channel won't be lonely. And in the episode Calypso, maybe you didn't notice the subtle detail behind this episode because it's very subtle, but it tells us a story that many children experience. Well, here we can see that Pretzel is having his first day of school, and that's why he isn't included in the other kids' games. Probably because he doesn't know how to approach them. But in the end, we see how Calypso tries to help him so that he can finally make friends. Throughout the episode, we get several moments of him alone, lying on the rug, bored, and just waiting for time to pass. And Calypso, as patient as always, tries to offer him a really cool stick, which he rejects. But after all this resistance, in the end, we see him playing fishing with the stick, and Calypso then tells him not to worry, because soon someone will take the bait. She means that soon, the other kids will be interested in him and invite him to play too. But Pretzel actually seems to be a kid who prefers solitude over company. Of course, he gets along well with his classmates, but in the most important moments, we can see him alone in his own space, enjoying his own company. Like in this super quick scene from the episode Curry Quest, while everyone else is enjoying the fair in groups or with friends, he's off in his own corner, happily enjoying a big ice cream all by himself. And honestly, I don't blame him. An ice cream would hit the spot right now, huh?